Hello friends, how are you all? October 20, 2025, where the world was celebrating the festive of lights called Diwali, none of us were prepared about the storm which is going to knock our door in next few hours. By now, you would have got what I'm talking about, a storm which shook the internet world. And it was none other than the AWS outage, which started around 3 a.m., where the people started facing issues to access their Amazon devices as well as different services. Around 3:30 or 4, I also received the call from my team in offshore saying that they are unable to access the AWS management console. First, I thought it would be an individual account access issue, but then when I started accessing the AWS management console, I also started getting an error of login failed. By now, there were thousands of things going in my mind. What is the issue and etc. So immediately I elevated the P3 incident to a P2 because by that time we have received 100 plus alerts and 100 plus alerts in our mailbox. While triaging the issues, we found that not only us but the other teams are also facing the issues while accessing the AWS management console. I hope by now you got an idea what this video is about. So today's video we are going to talk about the AWS outage and its impacted services. There are a lot of videos on the social media, a lot of articles published after the outage was addressed. But still, I thought of putting my viewpoint through this medium. So, before we get into the depth of that, I wanted to showcase something to you. And here that is. By Q1 2025 and Q3 2025, the AWS still holds the market share of 29%, which is way more than the Azure, Google Cloud, and others. Okay, so others are like Salesforce, Oracle, IBM, Alibaba, etc. So, what was this outage and how long this last for? So, it lasts for 7 plus hours of downtime, and around 78 services were affected because of this AWS outage, and 50,000 plus people reported that they are facing issue with their services. On the top list of AWS outage reports by service, Snapchat holds the top position in the race. And then comes the AWS, Amazon, Reddit, Ring, uh, Carva, etc. By 9 a.m., the Snapchat already reported 280,000 users were impacted by that service. And you can see then we have Ring, we have AWS and Amazon, etc. The major AWS outage on October 20, 2025 affected wide range of apps and services. So Snapchat was there, Alexa also I talked about, then they had a Coinbase, Amazon, Prime Video, then you have Carva, etc. Now, without much further delay, let's get into the basics of what exactly happened on that day. So, friends, to help you understand what exactly happened on October 20, 2025, I have presented that scenario in the form of simple flow chart. So, as you see on the screen, the AWS has two important components, or uh, those two components are the part of DNS automation system, which one is the DNS planner, other is a DNS enactor as you see on the screen. So DNS planner is responsible for creating the different DNS plans, and DNS enactor one enactors are used to basically execute those plans and clean up the old records. So on that day, there were three enactor instances running across the different availability zones under US East region, US East 1 region. For an example, DNS enactor 1, enactor 2, and enactor 3. On that day, let's consider the DNS enactor 1 was running slow, and the DNS enactor 2 and enactor 3 were running absolutely fine. So on that day, in this race condition, the DNS enactor 2 thought that DNS enactor 1 has completed its update, and it went and updated the records and deleted the old DNS records. But that was not the case. The DNS enactor 1 was still updating in, and that's where the issue started. But since the DNS enactor 2 thought that the DNS enactor 1 has its completed in its updates, but that's what not the case, and hence it went and deleted all the DNS records for the DynamoDB's regional endpoint. In to be say in a very simple terms, the in DNS enactor 2 erased all erased the addresses compu- uh, computers use to find the DynamoDB, while the enactor 1 was still updating the records. This made DNS DynamoDB unreachable, and the services which are connected to it got impacted, per, which is none other than our DNS, DNS Lambda, ECS, Network Load Balancer, IAM, EC2. None of the new EC2s were able to log in. The people were facing issues while connecting to the AWS through the AWS Management Console, as well as the ECS container services were not running as per expected. So that's what exactly happened on that day. By now, you would have got an idea what exactly happened. This race condition happens once in a blue moon, but when it happens, it creates lot of chaos, and as well as impact different services which are directly or indirectly connected to the DynamoDB. Mm. I hope you got an understanding what happened on that day. But we will also look at the timelines of how the AWS SREs or the ProdOps team resolved that incident. But before we go into that, to basically mitigate all these things, the the AWS SRE team first deactivated or disabled the DNS automation system, and they manually went and synchronized or updated the records in the DynamoDB thing against each IP addresses which were trying to access the endpoint dynamodb.us east1.amazonaws.com. So, friends, let's go through the timelines, and these timelines are already published on the AWS portal. So, the AWS team basically started seeing the increase in error rates for the US East Region 1 at around 3:11 on October 20th. By 3:25, they found that the internal monitoring system, which is responsible for monitoring different services like network load balancers, Lambda, and EC2 instances launches, started failing the health checks for those services. By 4:26 a.m. EST, the errors or the increase rates errors, they were specifically noted for the DynamoDB endpoint. So they did the analysis and they found that okay, these errors are now specific to the DynamoDB endpoint related. By 5:25 a.m. EST, or by 501 to between 501 to 5:25 a.m. EST, the root cause was identified as the DNS resolution failure impacting the DynamoDB. And by 6:35 they started mitigating the issue, leading to a partial recovery. 6:53 a.m. EST, the AWS officially ends the multiple services operational issue. So it was spread across different services. Um, uh, Event in its health check dashboard. So there was a health check dashboard which was updating it. So 6:53 is where they declare that it is not just a DynamoDB, but the services which are integrated or indirectly connected to the DynamoDB are impacted. So that's where AWS Lambda, network load balancer, and etc. started getting impacted. And then around 8:24 a.m. EST, the AWS engineers resolve the initial DNS problem. But this reveals the secondary issue in EC2 internal subsystem. So how did they resolve the DNS? Initial problem was stopping the AWS DNS auto system, disabling it, and then manually started synchronizing those IP addresses or the records in the DynamoDB against different things. So by 9 p.m. EST, all these services were restored, and they declared that all the services have returned to their normal operations, but some services continue to process the backlogs for few more hours. Why some services faces? Because see, specifically there is something called as a caching or kind of thing. So as a developer, you would write some retry conditions and other stuff. So to clean up that and other stuff, it took little time to get to the normal or restore those services. So these were typically the timelines published on the AWS portal as a part of their updates, and I picked up from there and converted into the EST. So those were all in PDT timing, Pacific timing, and I converted that to EST. I hope by the end of this video you have got an idea what was actual root cause of the outage. Now, since we have talked about the root cause of the outage, now the question is, if this scenario occurs again, how can we mitigate, or how we can basically analyze the issue at a faster pace, and how we can avoid the major services impact? In a very simple term, as an organization, you try to basically you try to avoid the multi-region kind of architecture. But if your systems are on payments or any trading applications, you should go ahead and have those things have those architecture design as a multi-region architecture. Yeah, everything can't be a multi-region architecture because it will impact your cost, but it's good to make a use of multi availability regions. That would avoid to basically calm down or lower the impact when such storm happens again. Right, you never know, down the line of 1 or 2 years again we can have a similar issue on the same lines, right? So being prepared by using the multi AZ and the multi region would avoid the impact to the respective customers and the users. I hope you got an understanding of everything what I'm talking about. And if you think this has really added some knowledge to your understanding, do not hesitate to subscribe to my YouTube channel and share with your friends, and hit the like button and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload such interesting videos on my YouTube channel. Until then, take care. Bye bye.